All right, so since this is only a 7.5 week course, and we are now jumping into week 3, I mean, this is crazy, right? Are you guys all feeling like you signed up for crazy in taking this course? I hope that you can relax a little bit in knowing that this, we're all in this together, we're not alone, and you'll be done with it soon. It's sort of like bad medicine, right? Well, I hope it's good. I hope it's good medicine, but you know what I'm saying. We're just going to muscle through and get done. And this week then we're jumping right into the second paper. So last week we finished up our summary response, and now we're going to jump into a literary essay. And a lot of you are catching on that I'm a pattern person. I like to do things, I like to mix it up, but I like to keep kind of a predictable pattern going. So basically for the next, this week and next week, we're going to be hitting one paper a week, pretty much the same assignments or same types of assignments. Usually I include one reading or a chunk of reading that involves a discussion board, some sort of skill building for writing, and peer edit and final draft. So you're looking at about 4 assignments that you actually turn in every week, and that will hit this week and next week. Then the following week we'll come up for air a little bit and start on our final paper, which is our research paper. So I know it's kind of ironic that I would say a research paper is coming up for air, but you do have a few more weeks to develop that research paper since it is twice as long as the other writings, or the other pieces of writing. Literary essays sometimes intimidate people, and sometimes they're people's favorite. I think you'll enjoy the difference in reading assignment for this week because it's all based on literary selections, things that you might remember more like from your high school textbook. Although more and more high schools, because of changing content standards, are going towards reading essays. This particular week, we're going to be reading authors that you might know and love, like Walt Whitman and Robert Frost and Emily Dickinson. Maybe some of you are Kurt Vonnegut fans. You may have heard of Ambrose Bierce. Charles Bukowski is a little bit less known, but Cheever is another famous writer. All of these are famous authors that write both short stories and poems. So we have a mix of things here. I give you a skim read from Hershberger text that tells about writing a literary essay. I mentioned that this is different, and some students get really intimidated because it makes us dust off some of our old literature skills, some of those terms that we maybe loved or hated, like symbolism and analogy, or why am I going blank right now? Characterization, plot, setting, and even more in-depth things like metaphors and more subtle meanings in literature. What I'm going to do is suggest that as you read this week, you jump down to assignment 3-2, and that you skim Hershberger 20 to 26. Hershberger 20 to 26 tells what a literary essay is, and if I remember right, I think it also has a sample essay there. Exercise 3-2 is a writing to analyze assignment, and that is something I would have open while I'm reading because you can fill it out as you go, and then you can use that information to put out on your discussion board. You can kind of recycle it in your own words if you wish. So what the writing to analyze worksheet does is it's taken from a gentleman by the last name of Scholes, almost like Dr. Scholes, but different guy, obviously, Scholes, and you'll notice that I cite him, and I've had some students write me and say, wait a minute, where's this Scholes? I don't know where this reading is. No, I try to practice what I preach, so I cited his worksheet because I adapted a lot of the questions for this worksheet from his text analysis textbook or research piece. So that's what that is. You're just filling in the blanks as best as you can. There are also additional questions that you can use from the Aaron text if you don't feel like the questions that I've created for you help you. What this is doing is helping you to get at the analysis level. It is a very close reading exercise. It might be something where you reread and reread and reread to really draw out the rich meanings in the text. What you're not doing with this exercise is telling us about a good point the author's making. We're not evaluating the effectiveness as much as we are analyzing for meaning and author choices. So hopefully that becomes clear as you look at the writing to analyze worksheet. That should be a guiding force. To me, you're turning in a copy of your discussion board posts, your writing to analyze, your peer edit, and your final draft. To the discussion board, you're handing in the discussion board initial post and reply posts, the peer edit initial post of your rough draft, and your peer edits, and those are the two things you hand into discussion board. So all four come to me. The first and third assignments go to the discussion board. A brief moment on discussion boards. We want to keep this course flexible and make it work for you. But it will work best for your writing and give you the most opportunities if you can have the discussion board response to readings done as early in the week as possible, let's say Wednesday at the latest, and if you could have your post for peer editing up even before Friday if possible, or by early Friday, so that those who kind of preserve weekends have a chance to respond to you before the deadline at Sunday at midnight. This isn't something I'm going to force, but obviously the earlier you put these things out here, the more likely you will have quality responses given to you. But here's the big but. It's not funny. I do not grade you on things you cannot control. Okay, so you don't have to tell me who responded to you, because you can't control who responds to you. If you want to include that just because you might think I like to, and I do kind of like to see the whole big picture come together, that's great. But I'm not going to ever grade you on someone else's response to you, because you can't control whether or not you get a response. You can only control that you do respond to someone else. So when you turn in your discussion board and peer editing posts to me for the assignment portion of that, I'm just looking for what you put out there initially and in response to others. And if you end up, maybe there's a few of you, usually what happens in this course is that a few people are the early birds and always turn in things early, and you end up having kind of like 4 or 5 of you that always talk to each other. And it is what it is. That's fine. It kind of makes a little small group. You're always trading with the same people. It's nice to mix it up, but if that's what happens, that's what happens. And it's all good. But again, I can only grade you on what you have control over. So do what you can. We each have our own set of circumstances and time commitments and context that we're trying to work in, and that's what the flexibility is about. So fasten your safety belts for this very fast ride through Comp 2, and thank you for your hard work and patience in getting it started. Bye-bye.